Okay, Likkutei Torah, Parshat Emor, page Lamed Gimel, 3 lines in the top of the page. Okay, so the Alter Rebbe finally explained the 3 Kodeshes. One is basically B'chol Levavcha, B'chol Nafshecha, B'chol Meidecha. One is Momato L'mayla. The first Kodesh is the level of the Srafim. They want this just to become consumed in the fire of Elokus. The second Kodesh is B'chol Nafshecha, bringing the Kedusha down from that level, not us going up, but bringing down. And then he said, which we're in the middle of now, the third Kodesh is the level of B'chol Meidecha, which means we take the physical objects and we make them holy. Okay, and he says, that's the, it's called Eisei Ritzainai, not the people that do his will, but actually create his will, because we're creating the revelation of Elokus down here in the world. So he says like there's 3 lines on the top of the page. Initially, until Matan Torah, what kept Hashem in the world? He's saying this level that brings Elokus into the world. But what initially there was no Matan Torah yet. The Jews didn't do Torah mitzvahs. So what kept them in the world? So he says that's the level of Chesed Chinam. It was the free Chesed of Hashem, because again there was nothing doing to make it happen. So it came directly from Hashem. Like it said, Torah's Chesed, because like the pasuk says, "V'adam ayin lavi." There was no person to serve. At the beginning of Bereshit it says there was no person yet to work the land, which explains like many times. Before Baruch Shamar and Shabbos we say Hedel Hashem Kitev Kelam Chasti 26 times. So it's a parakantilim, but why does it say 26 times Kelam Chasdei? So the Medrash says, and Chassidus elaborates on it, because simply Kelam Chasdei means his kindness is forever. Kelam Chasdei is forever, is his kindness. But Chassidus explains what it means. Kelam, there's a world, is Chasdei, only the Chesed of Hashem. Why? It's 26 times, corresponding to 26 generations, from 10 from Adam to Noach, 10 from Noach to Avram, and Avram 6 until Moshe Rabbeinu. Moshe Rabbeinu was the 7th. So 26 generations. How did the world exist? Kila Olam, this there was a world if there was no Aveda. Chasdei is the Chesed of Hashem. So that's initially at the beginning. Now we need the Aveda of the Jew, to awaken this revelation of Elokus to come into the world. That's the Malachim are strong, that is awakening from below. That causes and stimulates L'mayla by Hashem. Hamshachas Sarat, in the bringing down of the will to want to have a world. And that's what the pasuk says. Malach gibere kayach eisid varei she'eisim leiratzim. Not that they do the will, but eisid etzayne means they make the will. That Hashem wants. Because you have to keep in mind like this. Normally Hashem likes to reveal himself, right? Why do people like to talk? Why do people like to make a commotion about themselves? That's the nature, because the Ruchnius is like that. Hashem wants to reveal himself. Yeah? So, when we sin, we cause Hashem to go into Golus. So where Hashem is suffering, what's the suffering that Hashem has? He can't reveal himself. He wants to reveal himself and he can't. Because we're not letting him. It's up to us. So he says, normally Hashem is revealing himself in the infinite revelation. Now Hashem has to limit himself, remove that art, remove that art on the side, and now we reveal a will that's able to give a connection to the world. So you have to, why should Hashem want to do that? There has to be a reason why Hashem is doing it. So therefore he says we have to create a reason. The primary revelation of this level of Kedusha is Aidei Torah mitzvahs. Shaydei Eis and Leiratzin Kaviyach, we make the will of Hashem, Sheyirtze Lias Melech HaElam, that he should want to be king of the world. In other words, generally speaking, on Rosh Hashanah is Haftaras HaMelech. We crown the king. Like every year Hashem checks out of the world, Hashem has to want to be a king again. He has to want to be connected to the world. So Rosh Hashanah is Binyan HaMalchus, we create again Hashem as king. But the truth of the matter is, on a daily basis, every time we do a mitzvah, we're creating this will of Hashem to want to be in the world. K'maymer, as like the Medrash says on the pasuk, V'atisem eisam. You should do the mitzvahs. The pasuk eisam is without a vav. Aleph Taf Mem, which is really, the Medrash says, Asisem atem, meaning, Ki'ilu as'uni, as if we make Hashem. V'asisem atem means, you make me. What do you mean we make Hashem? So again, like we learned many times, Hainu, Shemamshichim Shir Kaima. We are the ones that bring down through Torah mitzvahs. We're the bring down the meaning, the height of the image of a person. We bring down Hashem's seichel, His midas, His action. We bring it down in a level of Mara Adam, in the vision of a person, which has Ramshachli is mark of a chayt salvus elements. Okay, so he says these are the three levels of Kaddish. But as we will soon see, the Malachim cannot say Kaddish until the Jews say Kaddish. Okay? So, what happens is like this. We bring down this desire of Hashem to be involved in the world. And through the Gimel levels of Kaddish. And that's the Pirish of Bracha Shekol HaMitzvahs. Baruch Atah Hashem. This is what the Bracha means when we say Baruch Atah Hashem. What do you mean, Baruch? Blessed art thou. It means like this. Baruch means to reveal down. Hamshacha shia havaya Elokeinu. That this havaya should come into Elokeinu. Meaning, Hashem hu Elokim. That our Elokim, our nature is really havaya. Means a Jew and Hashem are one. Begil and Neshama Sadikim. That it should be Melech HaElam. Gam b'chitzein Yisraelim. It's even in the external worlds. So what's the bracha? We bring down the level of Atah, which is the essence of Hashem, nameless, and then it comes into Havaya, which is the infinite level of Hashem, into Elokeinu, our nature, and through the Jews, Melech HaElam, it comes into the rest of the world. Asher Kidshanu b'mitzvahs Pirish Asher. What does Hashem mean? The scene is tam. It's actually a reason. In other words, Asher Kedishanu, Asher also means because. In Hebrew it means Asher because. So he says, why are we bringing down this level of Ata, which is which Shavaya Elokim, therefore not contradictory, into Melech HaElam? Because Asher, because Kedishanu b'mitzvahs. Because Hashem gave us the ability of mitzvahs. When we do mitzvahs, that's the bread of Hashem, keeping Hashem down in the world. Hashem Nasin is tam. Shakerech lam shachazu. What's the reason why we could bring down the level of Ata into Havaya, into Lekeinu? M'nei shekidshanu b'mitzvahs. Lakach yichelim laham shecharotzin. Therefore, we're able to bring down the rotzin. Aydei ha-mitzvahs to mitzvahs. Sheyirtze lias melech HaElam. That he should want to be melech HaElam. Okay, so this is the concept of Nigadashti B'seich B'nei Yisrael, which the Maamar began with, and he elaborates on the level of Kedusha and the three Kaddishes. Basically means it has to be awakening from below, which causes the awakening from above, and then we have the third level of Kaddish, which is the doing of Torah mitzvahs, which makes the Keli to bring down that Hamshacha from above. Okay? So he says, but that's generally speaking. He says, so what happens when you Torah mitzvahs, you bring down a lokus into the world. Now the Alter Rebbe is going to explain the difference between the Hamshacha that comes through learning and the Hamshacha that comes through mitzvahs. Because you need both, obviously. So he says, b'derech prat in more detailed way, yashchilik bein inyan hamshach shaydei esek haTorah, the difference between the hamshach, the revelation of Elokus that comes through Torah, le'inyan hamshach shaydei hamitzvos. Because obviously, just like we learned many times, why did Hashem give us 248 mitzvahs? He could have given us 20, 30, 40, like what's Chesed exactly 248? And they're called the limbs of Hashem. What is the purpose of a limb? Purpose of a limb is to bring down the koyach of the neshama for that particular purpose. Okay, so there's 248 powers of the nefesh that connects to the body. The nose is one thing, the mouth is something else, and you have 248 different hamshachas. So the reason why Hashem gave us 248 different mitzvahs, because there's actually 248 different ways that Elokus needs to come into the world. Each one has its own unique function, just like every limb has its own unique function. Excuse me. Every mitzvah has its own unique function in the world. Yeah? So the same thing, Torah accomplishes one type of revelation, and mitzvahs reveal a different type of revelation. Both different. Because Haidei HaTorah mamshich mipnimis, Haidei esek b'Torah shebeksavish b'al peh. Torah is bringing it down into pnimis. What does this mean? Like we learned many times, Torah is likened to food. And mitzvahs are likened to garments. Now, food, in order to function in the body, you have to digest it. You can't put food on your stomach and expect to get full. You have to chew it, you have to eat it, meaning food represents internalization. It has to become internalized within the person. When you learn Torah, you digest it in your brain. So that's mamish like food. So he says, Ki malchus petay shebal per korinan lo, or k'maymer azal masnit and mishnah's malchus, so which is dibur. That's Torah shebal per, by the way. Torah shebal per you speak. Torah shebeksav is written. So medaber b'divrei Torah, you speak the words of Torah. Shemalu b'shrei devar Hashem, that in the words of Torah is devar Hashem. Like it says, v'osim devarai b'ficha, that I'm putting my words in your mouth. Which means when a person learns that gilui of Elokus in his mouth is coming internally. But when you do mitzvahs, on the other hand, mitzvahs maisis, mamshich and bechinas chitzenius, it's not the same. Therefore, mitzvahs are called garments. Garments you don't internalize. Garments are external, chitzenius. Like the mitzvah tzedakah was the general of all mitzvahs, which is hashpah. Lahachis ruach shvalim, to give life and sustenance to somebody who's poor, like it says, kamei kemam shel mamayla, sheyush balachis ruach shvalim of leivnit koim. So what's the purpose of mitzvahs? To give life to those that need it. What do mitzvahs do? They bring down chayis of Elokus into the world, which is a needy world. It's klipa. It's a world of klipa, and the Eibishter reveals that level. V'nei elu beis habechinos she'Torah mitzvahs. These two levels of Torah mitzvahs. In other words, there has to be a panemius revelation, a revelation of Elokus that it becomes internalized within us. That's learning Torah when Hashem puts the Torah in our mouth, which represents Pneumius, and then you have a Chitzenius, that's the doing of the mitzvahs, which are garments. And he says, it says like this. First the seven dibarta bam, speaking it, Loshin anhaga, the behavior, Vaishedei aska betera yamshich v'yanik. In the Divrei Torah Shemidaber. Okay? So when a person learns Torah, they bring down that level, V'dibar Tabam, you bring down, Dibor is a Gilui, in Torah mitzvahs, which is the second level of Kodesh. Like you said, what is the second level of Kodesh? Unlike the first level of Kodesh, which is the Srafim that are going Mamata Lamaila, to get out of their realm, to go up to godliness. The second level of Kodesh, he says, B'chol Nafshecha, is bringing Elokus down. And then after V'dibarta Bam, then it says, Ukshartam Le'esayodecha. Okay? Then it speaks about doing mitzvahs. And even more so in the second paragraph of Shema, Shemaya Tishma El Mitzvah. So the first part of Shema is emphasizing Limud Torah. But even in the first paragraph of Shema, first you have V'dibarta Bam, and then you have Ukshartam Le'esayodecha V'yulu Tatav Hizbeinenecha. Shekol HaMitzvahs Hukshel Tefillin, all the mitzvahs are likened to Tefillin, the Gemara says. V'atam, because why is this tefillin the yesod of all mitzvahs? She'ikar hakavana shel kol hapnimi is because what is the ultimate purpose of mitzvahs? Lahamshel bechinas echad lamata, to bring down, like we said, what's mitzvahs? Kitshanu b'mitzvahs, to reveal kedusha down here. He says zamafurish sheisa b'mitzvahs tefillin. What is tefillin? Shekeisim behem echad al klav gashmi. And same thing with a mezuzah. Tefillin and mezuzah is a parsha Shema Yisrael Hashem Elokeinu Hashem Echad. Yeah? That means, and you're writing it on a physical piece of parchment. So the Alter Rebbe says that's bringing down echad, not only in meditation or in verbalization, but actually into a piece of paper, into a cloth parchment. You're bringing mamshe the love of Chaim b'mezuzah. That teaches for all mitzvahs, shakavon ha'pnimis. What is the ultimate purpose of mitzvah? Lahamshe b'chinas echad lamata, to bring down echad down here. That is the ultimate purpose of mitzvah, and that's the kat hagimel. That's the third group that says Kaddish 3 times. Like it's Mleich Haaretz Kveidei. What do they say? Kaddish, Kaddish, Kaddish 3 times, and then the pasuk concludes Mleich Haaretz Kveidei. In other words, what's the purpose of Kaddish? That the whole world, full Mleich Leiyas Hamshacha Basiya Gashmis, which is the Hamshacha Bechinas Meidecha, which is ardent Tablig Volamata. In other words, like this. What B'chol Meidecha means beligvul, right? With all your might, which is not limited, is beligvul. Real beligvul is not when it's infinite, because then it's limited, that it's not finite. Even unlimited is limited, that it's infinite, not finite. That it's unlimited, not limited. So what's the real level of infinite? When it's so great, it's so unlimited that finite and infinite are the same thing. That's the level of Chol Meidecha. What's Chol Meidecha? To take the physical limited world and reveal infinite Kedusha in it.